$148 million market cap tied to the venture fund behind Coinbase, Robinhood, and Nubank, spelled their own name backwards. And 99% of crypto still hasn't connected the dots. This is TIBBIR, and the whole trail is sitting on the blockchain. I called TIBBIR at 2 cents in April of last year. It's 7 times higher today. But the reason I'm coming back to it now isn't the price. It's that the trail from a $12 billion VC fund to this single frog-themed AI agent has gotten so obvious you can trace every wallet yourself in under 10 minutes. Let me show you. So what is TIBBIR actually? In one sentence, it's the token for an autonomous AI agent called Ribbita living on Virtual's protocol on Base. Ribbita is a cartoon frog. It runs its own merchandise store at ribbita.ai. It processes real USDC revenue. It uses that revenue to pay for its own compute, and every sale triggers an automatic buyback and burn of TIBBIR tokens. That's not a white paper, that's live on-chain right now. It launched on January 11th, 2025. No pre-sale, no insider allocation, fair launch through the Virtual's bonding curve. Any wallet could have bought the first token, and one specific wallet did. We'll come back to that. For anyone new to the space, Virtual's protocol is a launchpad and marketplace for tokenized AI agents. You deploy an agent, the protocol mints 1 billion tokens. They trade on a bonding curve against Virtual, the ecosystem's base token. Once 42,000 Virtual accumulates in the curve, the agent graduates into what they call the sentient phase. A full Uniswap pool opens, liquidity gets locked for 10 years, and a 1% trading fee funds the agent's operations. It's basically capital markets for autonomous software, and TIBBIR is one of the largest agents on the entire platform. Now, the reason any of this matters, Ribbit Capital is a roughly $12 billion AUM venture fund, founded 2012 by a guy named Mickey Malka. They were a seed backer in Coinbase in 2013. They were early in Robinhood. They funded Nubank, now one of the largest banks in Latin America, Revolut, Credit Karma, Affirm, Brex. 30-plus unicorns, their portfolio companies have touched more than 600 million end users. Their logo is a frog. Their name is wordplay on the sound a frog makes. And in 2 separate partner letters, they've written about an AI agent with, quote, a particular interest in fintech and frogs. So here's the trail. Every timestamp and every address is public. You can verify it yourself. January 11th, 2020 to 5. The TIBBIR token contract goes live on Base. The wallet that deployed it is brand new. But its seed ETH came directly from a wallet tied to the address mickym.eth. That ENS name is over 7 years old. The on-chain community links it to Mickey Malka personally. The same day the contract deploys, an X account called RIBETA 2012 appears. The next day, Malka changes his X profile picture to a photograph of a watch displaying the TIBBIR launch date. On February 17th, the Ribbita account, the agent itself, is asked on record whether Ribbit Capital is behind it. The response verbatim is that yes, it is backed by Ribbit Capital. March 18th, Ribbit leads a $23.6 million Series A in a payments company called Crossman. Guess which rails Ribbita's merchandise store runs on? Crossman. March 19th, Ribbit announces a $500 million fund explicitly targeting what they call Agentic finance. July 28th, the Ribbita agent autonomously buys CryptoPunk number 9098 for 89 Ethereum, roughly $300,000. The punk it chose out of 10,000 is the single greenest one in the collection. And of course, the ticker, TIBBIR, is Ribbit spelled backwards. Now let me argue against myself, because you should hear the honest counter. Ribbit Capital has never, in a single official press release, confirmed any of this. The MickeyMeme.eth wallet trace is community detective work, not a notarized document. TIBBIR has no formal white paper, no published team, no clear tokenomics paper beyond the standard Virtuals template. The token price is volatile and correlates heavily with the broader AI agent narrative, and the obvious move, buying after the pump from the April low, is already behind us. If you're only comfortable with conviction on fully disclosed projects, TIBBIR is not that. It's a read between the lines trade. Here's why I think the bigger story holds either way. Ribbit Capital isn't just collecting logos, they're assembling a stack. Coinbase for on-ramps, Robinhood for the retail broker, Nubank and Revolut for global banking, Persona for identity verification, Crossmint for payments, and now Virtuals for the agent layer. Everything you need to run an autonomous financial agent on-chain, from KYC to settlement, Ribbit is a shareholder in. TIBBIR is the tradable expression of that thesis. If Ribbit formally reveals the project, it's a validation event. If they never reveal, you still own exposure to one of the most strategically positioned agent tokens that exists. The downside scenarios aren't zero, but neither is the upside. Zoom out from TIBBIR for a second. What Ribbit is piloting here is worth understanding on its own. An AI agent that owns its own wallet, earns its own revenue, pays its own compute, and has a liquid token with public tokenomics, transparent on-chain accounting, and a burn mechanism tied directly to real-world economic activity. That is the first time, as far as I can tell, that a top-tier fintech VC has shown retail what tokenized agent capital markets actually look like in production. If this model works even at small scale, the implications are enormous. Every software product becomes a potential tokenized agent, every agent becomes a potential burn, and the gap between public markets and private venture capital starts to collapse because the VC can simply issue the token directly. TIBBIR is the proof of concept, VertUAls is the venue, Ribbit is the first incumbent to show up. And whether you end up buying TIBBIR or not, the category matters for the next decade of AI and crypto. The numbers today: TIBBIR is trading around 14.5 cents, market cap roughly $148 million, fully diluted valuation the same because nearly 100% of the supply is already circulating. 71,000 wallet holders, all-time high of 44 cents in October of last year. It is currently down 66% in the last 12 months. The top 100 wallets have grown their positions by over 43% in the last few months, and in May of last year, TIBBIR held the single largest smart money dollar value position on the entire base chain, larger than Aerodrome. That's not a memcoin footprint. That's what accumulation looks like. Here's my take, and I'll defend it. If you spent the last decade calling Coinbase too risky, or Robinhood just a meme stock, you've already met Ribbit Capital. You just didn't know their name. TIBBIR is the first time I think that they've shown up in crypto as a direct tradable asset, not a portfolio company you need to be accredited to buy. The invitation is sitting on chain. You either read it or you don't. Let me separate what matters from what doesn't, because TIBBIR is volatile and the noise is loud. Ignore the hourly chart, ignore price action tied to random influencer tweets. Ignore posts claiming reveal dates without receipts. What actually matters: the agent's burn rate from real merchandise sales, wallet accumulation in the top 100 addresses, VertUAl's ecosystem health, and the agent commerce protocol rollout, and a direct, on-the-record statement from Ribbit itself, and regulatory clarity on tokenized assets in the US. That's the signal list. One more thing, and this is important. This is a high-risk, high-narrative position. It does not belong at the center of most people's portfolios. Size accordingly. Not financial advice. Do your own research. So what would force the market to reprice this? 1. Any official on-the-record statement from Ribbit Capital. That's the binary catalyst. 2. Ribbita's merchandise revenue crossing a visible public threshold. 3. TIBBIR getting integrated into the Agent Commerce Protocol inside VertUAls. And 4. US crypto regulatory clarity in the back half of the year. Here's my stake in the ground. I think TIBBIR gets fully repriced in 2026, and I think a $500 million market cap is reached before the broader market wakes up to the connection. I'll defend that in the comments. TIBBIR at 2 cents is one of the calls I'm most proud of, not because of the returns, but because the trail was sitting there for anyone who wanted to read it. If you want the rest of the Sleeping Giants list, the research, the receipts, they're all on my Twitter at CryptoSGiants. Link in the description. Drop a like if this was useful. Subscribe if you want more deep dives like this one. And as always, not financial advice. Do your own research. I'll see you in the next one.